Hello, fellow Earthlings. This
Hello.
is Professor Pixel. Hello. This is Professor Pixel, and below me we have the real Dr. Bankman. Say hello, Bankman.
Hello, Venkman. Hello.
We have been reviewing this show, and well, we've only reviewed one episode, but Sci-Fi this week has decided to put out episodes 2 and 3 of Resident Alien. It is a great show. It stars Alan Tudyk, however you say his last name. Tudyk. There you go. And where we left off last time, basically, Alien came down and took over the life of a doctor named Harry, Glockenspiel, or whatever the hell his last name is. Every time they say it, I'm like, what a stupid name. No offense to anybody with that name.
It's so stupid it got him killed.
Yeah. And he's basically the new town doctor, trying to find out who murdered the old town doctor while getting a peek at some of the town life. And our resident alien, Harry, is just trying to fit in.
But he's got that pesky little kid, though.
Hey.
From the first episode, he's big. The only one kid in town. He's like one out of like a million people, or like on the planet. And it's got to be, and it's like one in this town of like 100 or 1,000. It's a small town, like maybe 1,000 people. He's like, that's what humans call bad luck. Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Because these episodes,
that's his favorite line.
I know these episodes continue on with that plot. The kid can see him, and we see in episode 2 the kid's pretty much was telling everybody he's an alien. He files a report with the mayor. The mayor's his dad. Yeah, so
the mayor is his dad.
Yes. So anyway, so his dad says it starts off in the mayor's office. So, and we see the sheriff coming in there with his deputy, and they're putting in the boxes. And he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, now we got murder investigation. I need room for all their stuff." He's like, "These are the stories." He's like, obviously the laws of physics just prove that. So the kid's in there. He's like, "Well, since you're here, I want to file a report." I'm like, okay. I saw an alien. He's like, "Green card alien? What are you talking about?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "It's alien." He's like, what are you making this kid watch? And it's like, all right, bear parenting.
What are you teaching this kid? Big Black is one of the best characters in this show. Every word out of his mouth is hilarious. Yeah, but episode 2, it's basically Harry's first day. He's going through various patients, meeting them and seeing their problems. There's one that he's checking because she's pregnant. Yeah. And he pulls out the camera because he's not a doctor, but he's trying to Google the things.
Yeah, MD.
And so he's doing it underneath the covering over the legs.
Remember, he's like, "You're not a 12-year-old boy." Because
you're not a 12-year-old boy. That's right.
The jokes in this are just hilarious.
The interactions are truly phenomenal.
Anyone else in reality would know this guy is not a doctor. The way he acts, it's like they're so stupid. Like,
it's a small town.
Not all small towns are like this, though. But it's like, but it's such stupid humor. It just makes it work. Like the girl, she went in there just to get a pelvic check. She's not pregnant though, but you want to get a pelvic check. Oh. He's down in there looking at it. He's looking at the phone, and she hears all because he accidentally makes click the phone. And he's like, "So you take a picture of these?" Yeah. First day.
A selfie.
And she's like, "Oh,"
and she's just like,
"Oh."
But after. That's pretty much the main interaction that they highlight before he gets off. He goes with Asta, and they go to the diner where Asta's dad works. And Asta's dad gets a bad vibe off of Harry. But whenever Asta goes to talk to him about it over by the kitchen door, she's like, I know you don't, yeah, I know you don't feel good about any guy around me. He's like, no, it's not that I don't like him. It's that I feel nothing from him. And so Harry's freaking out because he's thinking, oh no, does he also know that I'm an alien?
Right.
And at that moment, he sees outside on one of the what's it called?
Telephone poles.
Telephone lines, yeah.
Poles.
On the pole, there's an
Line.
image that says, "Have you seen this alien?" And the deputy, who is a sketch artist, sketched up what Max, the kid who can see Harry's true form, saw. And so he's like, he's freaking out because somebody knows.
Nope.
Turning into other people is difficult for Harry. It actually goes through a montage.
Yeah, he pointed out, he's like, it's like, I spent many weeks learning how to use this body, and it goes a montage of him just like trying to brush his teeth, and he can't get, or he's putting too much toothpaste on. It's just hilarious, different things like that, and it's like, and as you go through, I know it's like even episode 3, we get more flashbacks of basically of him like 4 months, before when he first crash landed. He's like, I'm not gonna let this little shit, basically like my stuff. He's like, and what's also great about this too, episode 2, because it is called Homesick. He's starting to realize that he's like, I noticed I'm starting to get plagued by human emotions in this physical form. He's like, I don't want to be like this. He's like, oh well, I kill the kid, I go home, I blow up the earth.
That's his plan. So his first goal is to call Max's mom. Well, the number that was on the thing, and he's talking in this really high voice, trying to sound like a kid. Hi, I go to Max's school. Clearly, he doesn't, but she's stupid. She's like, okay, Max, you have a friend. And basically, Harry says, oh, I saw the alien, yeah, and he left. He gone. You have no need to worry about him anymore.
He went on a bus, and he's gone now. It's like he's like, oh, sure. He's like, yeah, and like he's like, okay, and Max is smarter than most people give
his mom, I guess.
I give her his mom, because he tripped him up, like, and like, I was like, oh, school. It's like, I was like, and everything, and then he caught him in a lie, but then he's like, so then continue the same voice. Oh, I'm actually the mail postal worker. It's like, and he's like, if you're a poster, why are you continuing the same voice? Oh yeah, I had a tricycle accident. it's like it just continues that voice. He's like, and Max is like, if you're a postal worker, what's the price of a tent? $100. I was like, 1,000. He literally said $100 for a stamp. He's like, dude, it's like 10 cents, man, or 30 cents. It's like, you're freaking moron.
Well, Max actually says it's only like $30.
No, for a stamp, for a single stamp, he said it was like 30
cents.
That's
what he said.
Yeah.
But he said $30.
Oh, that's right. Did he? I guess he did, yeah.
Yeah, because he's a kid. So, after this, Harry's not feeling good. He goes to the bar.
Yep.
And
remember he said he's got that pit in his stomach. He's kind of, and that ties back to the emotions. He's starting to feel lonely. But the girl at the bar, Darcy, says, "Oh, he must also give stress," because he's like, "I was hungry, but now when I come here, I'm not hungry." And she's like, "You want some more of that homemade whiskey?" He's like, "Oh no. The last time I drank that, I tried to murder someone." She's like, and she's getting up on it. She's like, "Ooh, murder someone? Are you a knife guy?" He's like, "No, my hands. I just choked them."
I'm good with my hands too, she said.
I like how he's being honest too, because he murdered his original host, the body that he's mimicking, and she's like,
he's murdered only one person thus far.
He's like, what? He's like what he said, like the first and last, and he's like, he's this horrible fake laugh is because he doesn't know how to laugh like a human. But It's like I said, this whole episode is just hilarious because like he ends up going bowling or he talked into going a bowling date with that girl Darcy. Like the next night, it's like and he's just has to deal with other stuff, but she's like no, it's like I forgot how she brought it up, but somehow she said something about an accident. She was like, oh yeah, most people.
Well, she said if you're going to go murder somebody, at least make sure to make it look like an accident.
And then he leaves though. It's like awesome. He leaves, goes back. And he's like, you see him standing on the middle of the road, Pixel, and it's awesome because he's just like, there's Max Bicycle, and he walks up to him, and he just cuts the brake lines, and he stands back. He's like, I'm the smartest person on this planet, and all of a sudden you hear a car horn, damn Brad, get on the road, you idiot! He's like, oh sorry, he kind of moves. He goes the next thing.
Well.
The next day on the episode, he sings up and he's like, here comes the mayor. He's like, oh, what's going on? Oh, I'm sorry for you. He's like, what loss? And here comes Max. And Max has got his arms out. He's got a cut. He's like, really? The little cut? Well, he's clearly going to need stitches. And this is the best interchange I've seen. This is like watching like a Disney movie almost. It got kind of silly, really silly. The kid's like, it's like, and they're looking back for it. He's sitting down and he's like, oh, he knows he's an alien. It's like, it's like, it's just so he's gonna get stitched. He's like, and here's we keep from Max's point of view, we see the alien, but and then when it's not Max's point of view, we just see the human side of Harry. So you see him in the alien. Anytime I see him in like a human clothing, like in the doctor's cloak, and he's got the syringe, he's like, wow, this is a good thing we got the Novocaine here. He's like, but it's like you gotta be a good boy. And he's like,
it'll numb any pain if you're a good boy.
And then Max,
a good boy.
Max is like,
he says yes.
Yes, Dad. Yeah, I'll be a good boy for you. And then he's like,
no. So he tosses the syringe aside and he starts just doing the stitches. I think this is bad. We might need 5 stitches.
Yeah, he's like, we might need 3. He's like, and Max is like, well, just give me 5 then. It's like, and it's just they're going back and forth. They're struggling. He's like, and then after he finally gets it in there, he slaps the glossing on it. He's like, he's like, and just walks out and just like, so that's I love that the exchange between him and Max, because I feel like it's going to be a running plot a subplot through the whole entire show, because he's still trying to find the ship, the device. We're also also I believe this episode started off with the guy, the hiker.
A hiker was going to take a selfie.
And he slipped and fell. And what's great about this Pixel is like we get to see more of the CG stuff, obviously, but he must have fell on top of, I think, his ship or something. He found something, but he was falling his death, and he's floating above the air. And in this episode, we get explained, or they tell us what that is, as far as not or if it's a ship or not, but he goes into that mine. Yeah, delirium. Yeah, which he finds in the mine where the miners died. He goes in there because he's like he makes up a little thing, a little silver, and he's like I can do this, I can build a ship that can fly away using this.
Then he puts an apple above it and it just floats.
Oh, yeah.
But this episode ends with that hiker guy from the beginning.
Yep.
And his face is just rotted away, and he's still floating with dead birds around him. And it's brutal for a minute there. He's
discovered
really creepy.
Yeah, and he's discovered by, first of all, he must have aged really fast in that the episode. Decomposed real fast, because said
I don't think it was supposed to be the exact same.
Unless it was 4 months, unless it was like 3 or 4 months ago.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. So these two, it's a woman and a guy, come across it, and which we'll see them in the next episode 3, because we get to learn more who they are. All we know is but
only final notes about this episode before we move on to 3. We learned a little bit about Asta's dad. It's not really her dad. He raised her, but
that was actually wasn't it episode 3?
Nope, it's episode 2. I took notes, sir. but he's like a Native American, so he does. They ceremonially just cut off a part of the hair so that she can free Sam's spirit. But Asta tells Harry towards the end of the episode that she felt closer to Sam than Dan, I think his name is, and so she could really talk to Sam about her father not actually being her father and stuff like that. And Harry sees her holding a deck of cards because in a flashback we saw Asta say, "Oh, let's not play a game tonight," and that was the night he died.
Yep. The bowling.
And so Harry says, "Do you want to play a card game?" And she's like, yes, I do. And they play around, and it's really a light note to end the episode on, even though there is the sadness.
But we forgot, I think that's in this episode 2, I believe, the bowling date with Darcy.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool because he's like, I can do all this. And it was cool. He's like I can mimic these. Like, I'm a scientist back home. I could do this. And he goes to throw the ball, and he throws it back, and he hits the sheriff in the either in the leg, big black in the leg, or like near the
right in the crotch, man.
Yeah,
right in the crotch.
And she's laughing too. It's like. Because he's in there trying to like, yeah, I'm a great expert, and then because Darcy got strike 2, and then like his hinter, and he's like, he even throws a coat at her, because remember she threw the coat at him, but he whips it in her face. He whips it. She's like, right, what the heck? But it's just him trying to just blend in. He blends in so badly. It's like I'm thinking these people must have never watched any '80s movies where he tries to blend in.
I guess not. It's a small town though, so. In episode 3, we start out not similarly.
We get a little recap, I believe.
We do get a recap, but Harry's talking about how he's looking for the real Harry. He has to find the body. It's in the lake. Where could it be?
Oh yeah,
and at that same time, a fisherman is pulling up a net, and there's a foot in it.
There's a reason that this is important because the episode we forgot to mention is she was talking to the I believe it was a bartender last week, and he said and she said the lake will be thawing out. He asked when the snow's gonna melt. It's like probably in a week, depends on the weather if it rains. So now everything's thawing out. The lake's thawing out, it's not frozen anymore.
And so this episode starts out on a lake.
Yep.
And the fisherman finds a foot, and that's where we leave it for now because Harry's having trouble sleeping. He's talking all through the night about how, oh my gosh, I need this to recharge. Stupid humans needing sleep, and
he's like, all this previous like these primitive like apes, lizards, and all. I was like, if all this stuff they need to do, like all these great wonders and stuff, but they need 8 hours. He's like 8 hours. So I could do so much stuff in 8 hours. It's like, it's ridiculous. And he's like, well, he stayed up, and he just started doing some research, some more stuff, and he was looking at more. I think he was looking at more like circumcision. I think that's what he was looking at. And so it's like or C-section or something. He's like, what's this? He's like, oh, like quick close. I love like quick closes the laptop.
They're savages.
Right. The C-section, either C-section or circumcision. But I was like,
circumcision.
Yeah. But this whole episode is pretty cool. We get a new character introduction too. We get to see the sheriff's dog.
That's right. Where's Rob? Where's Rob? He needs to start obsessing over the dog.
No, so they found the foot. So then we get this whole town meeting, and he's heart's beating. He's walking through. He's like, I discovered my secret. If I get the foot, I can hold the foot. And he's going up there, and the sheriff's like, you know what this means? Like, wow. He's like, we have a serial killer. And he's like, okay. So
yeah, we don't have a murderer on our hands. We have a serial killer. How is that good news? Big Black, he's saying, Big Black is saying, well, that means that he's not going to go around hiding. If he's a serial killer, he's going to wait look to strike again. He'll probably be in this room.
Yeah, I like
and everybody's freaking out.
I like he's like the mayor's like, any words from him? I'm like, he just got in there. Do you think he has any words about the foot? He's like, yeah, Harry, you're the town doctor. What's your opinion? I'm scared. You're scared. He's like, oh, cause for panic. But I want to point out real quickly though, before the last episode, we found out that Harry is actually smarter than he looks. But he's actually kind of stupid because he's awkward. But he is smart. He noticed that when Sam's wife came in and wanted to clear all the evidence out, we're all taking stuff out of his office. We saw Sam and Asta fighting on the sidewalk, and the sheriff's right there, and he's basically telling us like, so he was just a big killer. Like, Asta is clearly sad, but hiding behind anger. And then he's talking about the Sheriff Black. He's like, he's I guess he's nervous or incompetent, but he hides behind being a jerk, being a control freak. And then he's like, then we got the deputy. He's like, she's like a rabbit. It's just kind of like it's so scared and then lost his hair. And he just stares at her the whole time.
After the meeting, she actually talks to Harry, and basically she's oversharing. She's giving her life story
I know.
While he's standing there and looking at the foot in the bucket. We'll get to the bucket later.
Well, because he carried the. Well, don't you remember? He took the bucket though into his office.
Not yet, because he's talking to the deputy. The deputy's talking. The deputy is talking to him. He's not listening. Yeah. And he basically says, "Okay, I'm going now." And she's like, "Okay," and she walks away. He takes a bucket and quickly goes to his office.
He's got his foot on. Yeah, this is where he's got his foot on the desk, and he's got the foot out, the severed foot out of the bucket, and he's comparing. He's like, "Yeah, that's definitely my foot." So
definitely my foot. But then Big Black comes in. He's like, "Where is my foot?" And he's like, "Did you take my piggies? Did you take all 5 of my piggies?"
That's so weird.
And then he goes on and he says, "And the bucket. That's Lisa's bucket. That's our favorite bucket. She keeps her soda pop in that." And so Harry's like, "Well, I don't need to. You don't need the whole foot. I could just get you a piece of it to send for a DNA sample."
Yeah, because the whole thing is that Harry knew that they wanted to send it off to like the state, and the state, the full foot, and have them do DNA. He's like, if they have my DNA, I'm screwed. He's like, but I love it how he's like, even though it's like, because they're like, after all this, like he has to try and not only to deal with the kid, he's got to deal with the DNA from getting out and stuff. So he goes and and this is where we get the scene with Pixel. This is where we get the child. He's looking at. He's like, it's a newborn. He's like, oh, she's sick. He's like, well, the lungs are clear. Is your son circumcised? And they're like, what? Oh, hold on. I'm a doctor. Wait, I'll just look.
Yes, and he's like, and Asta's like, Harry, no, doctor, you can't do that. And they're saying, oh, we haven't decided. And Harry goes on, well, circumcision can. Yeah.
It's like, it's proven fact, that keeping the foreskin and all that stuff will basically lead to urinary tract infection and also STDs. And they're like, what? And like, yeah, you don't want your child getting gonorrhea. It's an infant.
Do you want your baby to have gonorrhea?
I love how Ash was like, that's not how it works.
But Harry somehow convinces them to let him circumcise their child, and he puts it in a bag.
And he marks it, Pixel, on the bag says, sample from foot. Simple.
And he gives it to Big Black. Here you go, sit in the sand.
And he gets how it's on from the foot, it's bright pink. The foot's gray.
Max in the school makes friends.
Oh, yeah.
A friend. Because he picks up this like Muslim girl's book.
Yeah,
after she was bullied, and
he was bullied first. He got knocked over. He's getting his backpack, and he has an aluminum foil cap. It was knocked. He got bumped. It fell out of his backpack. Everybody started laughing. I'm like, alien gets the alien guy. And they're just pointing, laughing at him. And then he sees the other girl. Yes, the Muslim. I'm assuming because she has a little thing on, hood on. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, she gets her notebooks over. He goes over, picks up her books, and she's kind of like, he walks in. He walks away, and then she's kind of into him. I'm thinking like, man, I'm thinking this. It must be in like middle school or grade school.
What?
But
we'll
like
get to how much she likes him in a bit, because after that, Big Black goes to Harry's house, and Harry's walking up, and he's like, "What are y'all doing here?" Because he has the entire
because he pulled his
there,
truck,
even the mayor.
Yeah, he pulls him in his truck, and they're all parked there. He's like the boats, and everything. He's like, "No, get off my property."
But Big Black is like, well, we have to search this lake, and we're going to look it over with a fine-tooth comb. And
the mayor's not having it though. He's like, I'm not paying for this. We don't have budget for that. And he's like, and I forgot what the Big Black said. He said something about the budget. He's like, that's not how it works. It's like, and yeah, so he's like, well, I'm not paying for snacks. And he's sitting there, picks up this little bag. So he starts eating. He's kind of weird. He's like, what are you doing eating my dog's treats? He's like, and he looks at the dog and he spits out. He's like, that is great bison meat you're spitting out there.
That's buffalo you're spitting out. What are you doing?
Yeah. So I love how they go and start to dredge the lake. Meanwhile, we get the two girls. We get Asta and Darcy. Darcy invited for a girls' night out. So let's go have some fun. I was like, fine, okay, sure. Turns out their fun is going on a little camp spot. And they're watching the cops, dredge the lake, and they're sitting with beers, and then all of a sudden we start getting hey, baby, I got you, because they're talking about what Harry looks like, an old guy that Darcy went to prom with, and the guy they start dancing. Obviously they're drunk, and you hear the music start playing and everything. It was, like I said, this show is actually it's pretty really. I say if it's not entertaining, it's solid for stories wise. The subplots they got going around, because obviously there's something we're learning more about the characters as there's the main plots going through. But I like it though. Like Harry's on, he's nervously on. It's at nighttime. He's sitting in there, the little tent. He's listening to the radio as they're talking back and forth. And it's like 30 minutes later after the girls are completely wasted. We go back to Harry and we see he hears the radio. All of a sudden he's like, it's the mayor. He's like, well, and you got the Big Black. He's like, wait, what are you doing? And he's like, he's like, why are you heading back to shore? He's like, the mayor's got a previous engagement. Obviously, he's got motion like this, and he's like the mayor even tries talking to him. He's like, "So I'm fine. I just do," and he's like, "I don't care. We're gonna be out here all night till this whole lake is dredged. Like, you can pee, piss, and poop all over, whatever you want, or throw them all inside the lake. I don't care." I'm like, will that contaminate more stuff if he throws it? But anyway, so he brings them back to shore. What's cool about this though is while they're doing this on, Harry's freaking out. He's like, "They're gonna find the body," and I love how he's saying he's like, "I gotta do something. They're gonna find the body. They're gonna find the body," and then they're like, "Well, maybe I can say it's my twin brother, Fernando. Yeah, he just got out one night."
He talks about a little bit about his first moments on Earth, how he knew nothing, but he wasn't afraid. But now he was afraid, and so the flashback shows us alien cowboy because he scares off this.
He's in Roswell, Mexico. That's where he's at.
Wow.
That's what I said.
He scares off this guy, and he drops his hat and he gets off the horse and he's scrambling around because he sees Harry in its true form because Harry wasn't a human at that point.
Yeah.
Harry takes the hat, puts it on, and he gets on the horse, and they're just riding.
Now, what's so great about this is that not only that's wearing the cowboy hat, you see him coming over it's a shot of him coming up above from the sand, coming over, riding up. Remember, he's got 4 arms. His little arms are holding on to the actual, what you gonna call it, the saddle or the bridle part is for steering. He's hanging on to the reins, and where the big arms are just kind of hanging down with the legs. I was like, this is the most retarded thing I've ever seen. The little arms holding on to the reins. As he rides up, because now we know where he got the white hat from. Now, this is from the first episode at the bar. He was wearing that hat.
So, but after that scene, suddenly Harry gets out of it and he hears the dog barking. He looks, and on the beach, who's there? Oh, his human form.
But this is after he was listening to the Libby, I think, or Libby. She is the deputy. She's like, well, it's just time. The body could have actually washed up on the shore with the way the waves are going in the directions of. And he sees the dog dying. He's like, and he goes over. He's like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. And like the dog's like, he's like, dogs grab it out of the pan. He's like, no, this is my dead body. And he drags it back to his house. So, and what he's doing this, I love it. He's like, he's in there, the body's dragging in there. All of a sudden, here comes like Asta and Darcy, clearly drunk. I'm like, don't even knock. They just open the door. Like, hey, what's going on, Harry? He throws the body onto the floor in front of the coach. So they can't see it. Like, we need to use your bathroom. He's like, it's this way. Only go down this way. Like, I'll stand here. I'm right here. You can not go
And they go in the bathroom and they're talking basically about how he's weird and they're checking his medicine cabinet as he's in the bathroom. And he drags the body down into the basement. And that's the last we see until that he goes back up and they go out of the bathroom and they're acting like they're leaving. But Darcy's trying to stick around.
You're skipping the funniest part, though. They're in the bathroom talking about, here go thump, 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 because he dropped the body. he threw it into the basement. And he because they had to quick get in. So much time to get in. So they're kind of looking like, then they kind of wrote it off. Because I was like, Darcy's like, because you hear it's loud, bump, 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 bump. Like he just chucked the body down the steps. But so they're in there. They're kind of like, Darcy's like, he's like, oh, because she's really turned on him by now. She's drunk, but she's turned on. She's showing off her ass, leaning over, with her skirt showing her waist and stuff. And he's kind of like, well, have fun at your party.
So, and she's like, but they go to the party.
No, but before this, but I love how they're outside. She's like, he's clearly jealous of me. He's just not showing it. And Aster's like, yes, he's really good at hiding it, his emotions. Because Darcy has a huge crush on Harry. Even though he blew her off, he left her at the bowling alley to go try and cut the kid's brakes.
Well, he had important business. He had a kid to kill.
But
priorities.
So the party scene is awesome, Pixel, because this is like, I was not expecting this, and I was pleasantly surprised. I'm like, makes sense. They go to JT's party. He's got a house party going on. Darcy says, and she basically invited her other friend along to come with them, with her and Astra, because JT was her ex, and so they think we're going to crash it and show how much how much awesome I am because she's jealous, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, probably not over him, whatever. So what happens when they go there, Pixel? It's their three cougars in a house party full of teenagers. Because JT is the name of the son, and she's like, that narcissistic prick named his son JT. How was I supposed to know? And Darcy's drunk. She's like, hey, you like that? She's all grinding up against the teenager. She turns around. She's like, oh my god, racist.
And so the third friend they invite is like, I got a babysitter for this. I am not.
I'm all dressed up.
I'm ready to go.
She is all ready to have a night at town. Get a groove on, and she's like, I drove 30 minutes for this shit. It's like, I'm leaving. You guys need to and like get her home and call and get a hold of a good lawyer, because it's.
But they notice at the party, they see a kid who offers some drugs, and I believe it's Asta who's saying, "Oh my gosh,
these prescriptions
drugged in now," and he sees that it's actually prescribed by Sam, the dead doctor, and he didn't write that prescription. But then they notice off on the side, asleep, is Jay, the girl who helps out around the the clinic.
Yes.
They drop her off, and Asta's thinking back, and she flashed back
the same house, yeah.
To the daughter she gave up when she was 16.
Well, Sam, it's right time. He grabs the baby from the back of the car with the Astros are holding on to and hands it to the parents, and it's the same house that Sam's walking in. So now we're being led to believe that Sam is actually her daughter.
Well, Jay is actually her daughter. Dun.
Yeah, dun. But
back at the house, we have the sheriff go knock on the door and says, "We're calling it a night. We'll be back tomorrow, but and we're not going to rest until we're finished with this." But the deputy comes in and says, "Actually, we're going to go home and rest, but we'll be back."
All the way through, this episode's been great, though. Like I said, both these episodes are just fantastic. Alan Tudyk. Without him, the show probably wouldn't be as funny as it is. I'd say he's probably, as far as popularity and level as being a comedian, it's probably as Jim Carrey was in the 90s, early 90s.
Yeah, it's got that level. I laughed all the way through both episodes yesterday. I can only think there's one more scene we need to talk about, really, because we have the dog running in, and he keeps the body in the cooler. That's it. And he locks it.
But the dog, because the dog goes in there, it's like, he's like, "Oh, what's in there?" It's all packaged of bison meat, wrapped up. And he's like, "Oh, you're holding out on me. You got all this fancy meat. I know I'm coming to you, Mr. Meat Man."
Yeah. Big black one, that was a good cut.
But the body is buried under the ice. I was like, oh. At first, I thought he cut up the body, wrapped it in like little packages. I was like,
Hannibal Lecter.
It was all the blood. Like, where's the blood and all that stuff? I'm like, nah, the body's at the bottom, which makes more sense.
But other than that, there's one more scene that really needs to be talked about, and that's at the very end. The cowboy from the flashback is telling this couple about his experience. "I saw that alien, and I ran him off. He got away with my horse and my hat, but I showed him what's for." And
I kicked his ass all the way up.
So the couple's like, "Oh, but we want to know a little bit more." And he's like, "I think the whiskey's already made me talk too much, but you can read about it in my new book." And he pats.
Yeah, the journal, because I'm writing. But you asked me as a couple, but this is actually the same girl and the same guy from the last episode who found the hiker. So clearly they're not. I'm assuming there's some kind of government agency. They're interviewing him, and stuff that they found the hiker. Because at first I'm like, they're just normal people, but then I'm like, the way they're dressed, the way they're acting, the way she's kind of like friendly, I'm thinking they're spooks. That's what they are. They're government agents, some kind of black ops, off the grid, kind of like the X-Files. Because they say, like, after they get all information there, they're like, "Oh, the journal. Oh, great, yeah." As he goes to his truck to get in there, she comes up and just kicks his ass, like, does like all this judo martial arts stuff, and just snaps his neck. And then here comes the other guy. He's like, "Really? We're not supposed to kill him. There's no issue." He's like, I clearly have different orders than you do. So
I think this is another set of aliens.
Maybe.
That's what I'm thinking. Because
spooks. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's why they would kill the guy and take his script, I imagine. But yeah, that's pretty much how it ends. It leaves you wanting more, and honestly, all the beats of this show, I just really like it. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, we're left with him just sitting in his bed, putting on the hat.
But he gets a good night's sleep for once.
Yeah, and he puts he lays down. It's like every time I see him, the cowboy, I think of Paul. We're just two guys holding hands with a little cowboy. Phenomenal show on Wednesday nights. I believe it's 7 or 8 o'clock. I forgot what time it is, but on Sci-Fi Channel. And like I said, this is probably the best show I've seen on Sci-Fi in a while. I mean, I saw Farscape was awesome. Then we had The Expanse, and now we're having this. I really hope this not just get canned, because Sci-Fi does that.
Makes terrible movies, but they make great TV. I hope they stick with it, because I can't imagine that people don't want more of this. This is hilarious. It has an interesting enough story to keep you going. And honestly, I'm just looking forward to more.
All right. Yeah, the show, and plus the show is not PC, so you can laugh your ass off. If you're easily offended, do not watch this show, and do not call for its cancellation just because you're getting ready for everybody else. Because you know what? Not everything's made for you. Isn't that what I was told, Pixel? If you don't like something, it's not made for you. Well, the good thing about TV, there's tons of other stuff you can watch. Or read a book.
And
obviously, I want to. This is actually based off a comic book series, so I actually want to go back after we're done with the first season and possibly do a comic book review and compare it to the show. So, for those who are still with us at the end, we thank you for watching. Leave us your opinions if you like this show.
Speaking of like, leave a like down there or a dislike. Doesn't matter. Just give us some. Give us a little something. Make sure you're subscribed. Don't you want more content like this? Make sure that notification bell is on. And I believe we'll just see you next time. Farewell.
Farewell.